Discover the heartwarming journey of a billionaire CEO who found life-changing love with his maid. In the bustling heart of Chicago, Jack Thompson was no ordinary billionaire. He had built an empire from scratch, climbing the ladder of success with unmatched ambition. Owning a mix of luxurious penthouses and expansive mansions, he flashed his wealth like a badge, living a glossy lifestyle that many envied. Yet, in the depths of his high-rise sanctuary, Jack felt an emotional void lurking, a hollowness that no amount of silk suits or high-end cars could fill. More than anything, he craved real connection, something to penetrate his carefully curated existence. In that grandiose mansion, Maria scurried from room to room, her movements a dance of dedication. A single mother juggling 2 jobs, she embodied resilience, clawing her way up through the challenges of life. Every day, she wiped away dust and silence from Jack's opulent life, but her spirit radiated warmth, something Jack had almost forgotten existed. Her laugh, like the soft chime of a bell, slowly drifted through the expansive halls, hovering in the air like a hesitant whisper. Yet, it was the fierce love she had for her children that caught Jack's attention, igniting something deep within him. Maria didn't care about Jack's wealth, she saw him for who he was, a man shadowed by isolation. Their friendship blossomed like spring flowers through cracks of concrete, defying the harsh norms of their starkly divided worlds. She would often share her dreams over steaming cups of coffee, her eyes lighting up with hope. Jack found himself hanging on to her every word, drawn to her passionate spirit that contrasted his cold corporate existence. For the first time in years, he felt the stirrings of emotions he thought he'd locked away forever. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With that newfound friendship came challenges. Jack's affluent peers whispered behind glimmering champagne flutes, exchanging smirks laden with contempt. They pointed fingers, their eyes echoing age-old prejudices, leaving Jack to wrestle with his loyalty to the comfort of wealth and the undeniable connection he had with Maria. Just when their bond seemed to flourish, a crisis shattered the fragile peace. Maria's son was in a serious accident, revoking the stability of her gritty world. Jack was thrust into a raw, emotional whirlwind as he stepped in to support her. The walls he built around himself began to crumble, revealing a man who, despite his title, felt smaller among the shadows of pain and the weight of responsibility. And just when the embers of hope were glowing brightly, Maria's past threatened to unravel everything. Her estranged father, a war hero once regarded with pride but now lost to his demons, resurfaced, reigniting bitter memories. As the weight of family struggles collided with Jack's societal expectations, he found himself at a crossroads. Gazing over the twinkling skyline of Chicago, Jack faced an emotional storm. Would he cling to the societal acceptance tied to his wealth, or would he embrace the deep, transformative love he felt for Maria? The questions spiraled around him like the city's vibrant lights, a dance of dreams and trepidation. What choice would he make amidst the contrasting worlds pulling him apart? Maria sat by her son's hospital bed, the rhythmic beeping of the machines a constant reminder of their fragile situation. There was a softness to her features hardened by life's trials, but in this moment, shadows danced across her eyes, masking her fierce spirit. She gripped her son's hand, her heart racing with worry. She had never known fear like this, and the weight of it was almost unbearable. Every time she looked at him, lying so still, it felt as if her world had come to a halt. She heard soft footsteps approach and turned to see Jack standing hesitantly at the door. His tailored suit seemed out of place in the sterile environment. But the look in his eyes was filled with concern and warmth. He had been a steady presence since the accident, always close, even if they hadn't known how to bridge the distance of their vastly different lives. "What can I do?" he asked, his voice low, careful not to disturb the quiet. Maria offered a small, grateful smile, the kind that didn't reach her eyes. Just being here means everything, she replied softly, her words brushing against the starkness of the room that he stepped closer, taking a place beside her. The tension in the air thickened as together they stared at her son. It was a world where silence was every bit as loud as speech, filled with unspoken fears and the terrifying unknown. Jack took a deep breath as he watched Maria, her fragility hidden beneath layers of determination. She was holding it all together, but he could see the cracks forming. "Can I help with anything?" He pushed gently, desperate to ease her burden even just a little. Maria shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. "I don't even know what I need." Her voice wavered, cracking as raw emotion spilled forth. "It's just everything feels like too much." Jack covered her hand with his. The warmth of his touch ignited something deep within her, something she had tucked away for too long. In that moment, Maria could no longer pretend that Jack was merely her employer. She saw in him a man who was wrestling with his own shadows, trapped between wealth and authenticity. "Hey," he whispered, squeezing her hand tighter. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together. You're not alone in this." She looked up into his eyes, reading his sincerity as he leaned closer, their breaths mingling in the air. It felt electric, and for a moment, they were two souls standing against the chaos. It struck Maria how they were fighting similar battles, just on different stages. Would he truly step into her world, or would he retreat to the safety of his gilded cage? Jack felt a pull he had never experienced before. It was a longing so deep that it scared him. He was fascinated by her strength, and yet, he admired her vulnerability. She was small but mighty, and somewhere within that chaos, he sensed an opportunity for something beautiful. The door creaked, breaking the moment, as a nurse entered, scribbling notes on a clipboard. The atmosphere shifted, a reminder that their world was still very much in limbo and the stakes could not have been higher. Jack turned to Maria, his heart racing. "I don't care what anyone thinks. If you'll have me, I want to be there for you and your children. I want to truly be part of your life." His declaration hung there, vulnerable yet powerful. Maria's breath hitched, caught off guard by the intensity of his offer. Suddenly, the world outside seemed to fade as possibilities danced in the flickering light of hope. The thought churned in her mind, could she let him in? Before she could voice her uncertainty, the hospital room felt different. It didn't just hold fear, it now held a flicker of hope. But as joy brushed the edges of their hearts, they both knew the looming shadows weren't gone. Maria's past was still a wound, and Jack's social standing loomed large. Would they take that leap together, or would the fears of their realities pull them apart? As they faced each other, that weight lingered heavy in the air, and they realized that together might be the only way to conquer the storms ahead. But it was Jack's next words that would change everything. "There's something I need to tell you about your father." Maria's heart stopped, the gravity of Jack's words sinking into her like a stone. "My father?" she echoed, her voice trembling at the unexpected intrusion of the past. Jack's gaze softened, his grip tightening just a fraction on her hand. "Yeah. I didn't know how to tell you, but your dad and I." He hesitated, the words seeming heavy in the air. "We've been working on some projects together. There are things he's been involved in that you might not be aware of." The mention of her father loomed between them, both a bridge and a chasm. Maria's mind raced. The man she had spent so many years avoiding was now intrinsically connected to the very person who stood beside her, offering her a lifeline. What things? What could he possibly be involved in that concerns you and me? Jack took a breath, collecting his thoughts with care. "Your father has been funding a new initiative in healthcare, one focused on low-income families. He's been making strides," but his voice trailed off, raw emotion surfacing. "It's complicated. He didn't always make the right choices, and I think you deserve to know." Numbness washed over her. It felt surreal, the way Jack stood there, like an anchor in the storm. "You want to tell me about my father, but you don't know what he's done in my life. My mom's sacrifice, the heavy burdens we've carried, you don't understand what he put us through." Jack nodded, understanding etched across his face. I know it's a lot, Maria. But maybe knowing the whole truth can give you some clarity. There are connections I think could help, not just in understanding your father's choices, but also in finding a way forward together. Her heart raced with the urgency of the moment. What if there was a chance to finally confront the pain of her past? What if understanding her father could change everything? But another thought nagged at her. And what if it tears us apart, Jack? What if it changes the bond we've started to build? He stepped a little closer, his sincerity radiating between them. I don't want to be the one to hurt you. I'm here to support you, whatever you decide. But please, let us not let fear dictate our path. Maria looked down at their hands, the warmth of his touch grounding her in the chaos. His words stirred a flicker of resolve inside her. I don't want to be scared anymore, she whispered, looking up into his eyes. I want to know the truth. About him and about us. With a small nod of encouragement from Jack, Maria felt the path ahead unfold, fraught but filled with potential. And in that moment, amidst the uncertainty swirling within her, she felt a spark of hope ignite. But just as courage began to seep into her veins, a loud crash echoed from the hallway, a commotion breaking the fragile tranquility of the moment. The muffled voices grew louder, filled with urgency and alarm. What is it? Jack asked, instinctively stepping in front of Maria, his protective instincts flaring up. I don't know, she managed to reply, her heart racing once again, dread creeping into her thoughts. The world felt tenuous, balancing on the edge of a knife. The door burst open, and a flurry of nurses and doctors rushed in, their expressions serious. Their words were a blur, but she heard snippets code blue and urgent. Mom! A voice called out from the hallway. Maria's heart dropped that it was her daughter, Mia, face flushed and eyes wide with fear. Mom, something happened. It's the room spun as dread washed over her, the flicker of hope extinguished by another looming storm. What now? As Maria felt the weight of her world shift once more, she knew one thing for certain: this was just the beginning, and the truth they sought was waiting just beyond the chaos. Maria's instincts kicked in, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Mia, sweetie, what is going on? She called out, her voice trembling but firm. Mia rushed into the room, her little face pale and streaked with tears. It's Grandma. She fainted in the hallway. They're trying to revive her. Every word felt like a punch to Maria's gut. Grandma was supposed to be the rock that kept their family grounded. Memories of laughter, warmth, and stories flooded her mind. She had never imagined that a day like today would shatter that sense of security. Jack's arms wrapped around her, a comforting cocoon. We need to go to her. Now, he said, his voice steady. With a frantic nod, Maria sprang into action. They rushed out of the room together, Mia clinging to Maria's side, the weight of each step heavy with fear and uncertainty. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered like the hope dimming in her heart. As they dashed through the halls, nurses and doctors moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine. But to Maria, it felt utterly chaotic. Where is she? She shouted to a nurse as they turned a corner. Room 203. The nurse shouted back, urgency lacing her tone. When they reached the door, it was flung open, and Maria pushed inside. The sight filled her with dread. Her mother lying on the floor, surrounded by medics working furiously, their faces grim and concentrated. There were wires, and the sound of machines beeped insistently, stark against the eerie silence of the room. Mom! Maria cried, pushing past the gathered crowd, her heart racing. Jack held her back gently. Let them work, Maria. No. I can't just stand here. She fought against his grip, panic rising like bile in her throat. She needed to see her mother, to know she was okay. Mia, Jack said softly, turning to her daughter. Why don't you wait out in the hall for a moment? But Mia, he repeated softly, and she nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. Maria could see the confusion in her daughter's eyes. Her brave little girl was caught in a whirlwind of grown-up troubles she didn't know how to escape. As Mia stepped out, Maria felt the door close behind her, sealing off the noise and the chaos. Her breath hitched, and all she could do was watch. Time seemed to stretch, the minutes morphing into hours. Finally, one of the doctors stepped away from the team, wiping perspiration from his brow. Maria's heart sank as he took a steadying breath, and she could sense the seriousness in the room shifting. "Ms. Garcia," he said, looking directly at Maria. "We're doing everything we can." Your mother's heart stopped for a moment, but she is stable now. Staring into the doctor's eyes, Maria felt both relief and fear clashing within her. "What do you mean, stable? Is she awake? Can I see her?" The doctor exchanged a cautious glance with Jack before nodding. "For now, we recommend keeping her comfortable. There are some complications we will need to address later." The world felt like it was tilting again. How could this be happening now? In the midst of seeking answers about her father, she was faced with the possibility of losing her mother. Jack stepped closer to her, his presence grounding. "You have to be strong for her, Maria." Maria nodded slowly, but inside, she felt unraveling threads of uncertainty. "What if I can't? What if I screw this up?" "You won't," he replied softly. "You've already shown such courage. Just keep going. No matter what." Those words settled in her mind, but doubt still snaked through her heart. She glanced at the door, knowing what lay behind it was both a promise and a peril. Could she face the truth about her father while grappling with the potential loss of her mother? Maria took a deep breath, wiping her tears away. She had to be there for the ones she loved, through whatever storms life threw their way. As she turned toward Jack, determined yet hesitant, something tugged at her. "If I uncover the truth about my father, will it matter?" The look in Jack's eyes turned serious. "Sometimes, understanding our pasts allows us to make sense of our present. Just think about your mother. She deserves to know, too." Then, a fleeting thought crossed Maria's mind. Could there be more complications lying beneath the surface than she ever imagined? Her heart stirred anew, ready to leap into the unknown. But was she prepared for the ramifications of whatever lay ahead? A notion of something bigger loomed closer, connecting her past and present in ways she still didn't fully grasp. Jack's voice drew her back. "No matter what you uncover, we'll face it together," he promised, and somewhere deep inside, Maria knew the truth awaited her. Yet as a new wave of uncertainty washed over her, she realized her journey was far from over. What awaited her just around the corner? Maria took a deep breath, steeling herself. The heaviness in her chest ached alongside her racing thoughts. Jack's words gave her a flicker of strength, but questions swirled like storm clouds in her mind. What if uncovering the truth only added to the chaos? The sterile smell of antiseptics filled the air, reminding her that this was not just a fleeting moment. It was real, and it was dangerous. "I have to see her," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. That he nodded again, stepping aside as Maria surged toward the door. Each step was a battle against her fear of what she defined, of the plunge into a family mess she didn't know if she was ready for. Inside, her mother lay pale against the stark white sheets, eyes closed and face peaceful, as if she were only asleep. Maria's heart clenched at the sight. She reached for her mother's hand, warm and familiar, feeling the bond pulse like a lifeline. "Mom," she whispered, the name sticking in her throat. She hadn't prepared for this, a moment so fragile yet so filled with layers of past love and new worry. The doctor approached, clipboard in hand. "I see you're with her," he said gently. "She may not wake up right away, but she can hear you. Talking to her might help." Maria blinked back tears, her voice trembling. What if she doesn't open her eyes again? The question hung heavy in the air. The fear was tangible, thickening the silence. She might. She is a fighter. It's in her blood, the doctor assured her. It's important for you to stay positive. The more love you share, the stronger she'll feel. Nodding, Maria squeezed her mom's hand tighter. "I'll be here. I want leave." She prided herself on being a beacon of support, a steady anchor. But the reality of the situation hummed with uncertainty, and she felt the weight of being her family's pillar crushing her spirit. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, but she ignored it. The world outside faded into a distant hum. All that mattered now was Grandma. "Please come back to me," she urged, her voice breaking. Minutes turned into a blur. Maria recounted memories: Christmas mornings, summer nights, all the laughter bursting out like confetti. As the stories poured out, she looked for signs, any flicker of response from her mom. "Remember the time you told me about your first love? You said it felt like magic." Jack peeked in, his face etched with empathy. "How is she?" he murmured. She's still with me." Maria clenched her jaw, refusing to let the tears fall. "I'm scared, Jack." His presence melted the walls of her uncertainty, like sunshine breaking through a storm. "It's okay to be scared. You're human, Maria. You have every right to feel this way." As he stepped further into the room, Maria caught the flicker of hope in his eyes. It reminded her, even in the darkest days, there was something still worth fighting for. Suddenly, the heart monitor beeped in a steady rhythm, and Maria startled. What if her mother could still hear her? "Mom, if you can understand me, I need you to wake up. I need my mom." She leaned in closer, her heart feeling raw. An unmistakable flutter coursed through her mother's fingers, and Maria held her breath. "Please," she whispered. The moment seemed suspended, teetering on the edge of understanding, balance, and fear. Then a soft gasp broke the silence, and Maria stopped dead in her tracks. "Maria?" Her mother's voice was faint but unmistakable. In disbelief, tears streamed down Maria's face as she whispered, "Mom. You're awake." With that, a new chapter started, one that felt filled with promise and potential. But the revelation sat just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled. Questions about her father swelled in her heart, unrelenting. What truths lay ahead, entwined with the complexity of her family's love? Would they be enough to heal them all? More than ever, Maria felt the weight of the journey ahead. She had to uncover it all, for her mother, for herself, and for the truth that loomed alongside them. "Maria?" Her mother's voice echoed softly, like a melody surfacing from a deep ocean. Maria leaned in closer, her heart pounding wildly. "Yes, Mom, it's me. You're awake." The joy surged within her, mixing with the remnants of fear that had anchored her moments before. "What happened?" her mother whispered, blinking slowly, as if waking from a long dream. "Where am I?" "You're in the hospital. You had a fall. But you're okay now." "I'm here," Maria rushed out, choking back sobs. She brushed her fingers through her mother's hair, finding comfort in the familiar strands. Her mother's brow furrowed slightly. "A fall? I can't remember." "It's okay. Just take it easy." Maria's voice was a tender cocoon, wrapping around her mother's fragile state. "You just need to rest and focus on getting stronger." But Maria's heart twinged. Could she truly ease the confusion when she felt just as lost? The doctor re-entered, adjusting his glasses as he surveyed the situation. "Ah, I see you're awake. That's wonderful news." He smiled warmly. "Let's check your vitals." As he spoke, Maria's mind raced, grappling with everything that lay ahead. Her mother was back, and yet unanswered questions lurked between them. The doctor focused on his work, asking her mother a few simple questions about her history, her medications. Maria watched, a mix of relief and concern coursing through her. She leaned against the wall, crossing her arms tightly. All she could think about was her dad. What does she remember? What if she doesn't even remember him? What happened before? Did I get hurt by falling? Her mother asked, a shadow of concern crossing her features. "Something like that," the doctor said, careful with his words. "But let us focus on your recovery first. We'll get to the rest later. You've got people cheering for you outside. At that moment, Jack peeked in again. The hope in his eyes sustained her. With him, she felt anchored, a steady presence amidst rising tumult. Can I? Jack gestured to enter, and Maria nodded. He stepped forward, a gentle smile on his lips. Hey, Mrs. Peterson. Oh, Jack. You've come to see me. Her mother's voice was still frail, but the warmth of recognition sparked a small smile. Of course, he said, beaming. We've all been worried about you. But it's great to see you awake. Just as the room filled with a warm glow of relief, Maria's phone buzzed again, vibrating violently against the counter. She glanced at the screen, and dread washed over her. It was her father. Is everything okay? Jack asked, noticing the tension on her face. She hesitated, the weight of hidden truths threatening to surface. I don't know, she admitted, the words tasting bitter. He shouldn't be calling now. Should I? Jack began, but Maria interrupted with a shake of her head. No, let us just focus on Mom right now. Her mother watched the exchange carefully. What is it, Maria? Just something I need to handle later, she murmured, a hint of unease creeping into her voice. The doctor finished his checkup and nodded. You'll need rest, both of you. He turned to leave but not before delivering one last piece of advice. Keep talking to her, Maria. It can help her memory return. Okay, Maria whispered, clutching her mother's hand tighter, longing to shield her from the storm brewing just outside their bubble. As the moments passed, silence enveloped the room. Maria glanced at Jack, searching for reassurance. What do I do? I need to know if I'm doing the right thing. You are, Jack replied softly. You are. But deep inside, Maria knew she had to confront her father, the looming specter cast over her family's history. It was like a thread unraveled, pulling her closer to the truth faster than she could anticipate. What if uncovering his secrets tore her family apart again? Just then, her mother turned her gaze to her. Maria, promise me one thing. Yes. Maria leaned in, anxious for answers, craving hope and understanding all at once. Promise me we'll face everything together. The tentative bond between them felt like both a foundation and a flame. But could they truly build from ashes, when the past still whispered ominous secrets? Together, Maria echoed, courage edging into her voice even as questions bubbled beneath the surface. The path ahead was murky, but she wouldn't run from it. As uncertainty loomed, one thought raced through her mind like an oncoming storm. What truths had her father buried, and would confronting them bring freedom or further despair? Maria sat on the edge of her mother's hospital bed, holding her hand tightly. The warmth of her mother's grip was both a comfort and a reminder of the fragility surrounding them. She could feel her heart racing, anticipation and dread mixing together like a storm brewing in her chest. What do you remember about the fall? Maria asked gently, wanting to keep the conversation light but needing to understand where her mother was. Her mother closed her eyes, wincing slightly as if striving to recall a hidden memory. I wish I could tell you, it's all just so blurry. Maria's heart sank. Each word felt like a raw echo of the uncertainty hanging over them. It's okay. It'll come back, she encouraged, but insecurity seeped through her own resolve. Jack shifted in his chair, his presence a steady anchor in the whirlwind of emotions. You just need time, Mrs. Peterson. You've already come so far, he added, glancing at Maria, as if trying to uplift them both, but Maria could sense the weight of reality thickening around them. As the hours drifted, the conversations flowed between them, light chatter, tales from the past, and sweet laughter when her mother managed to remember fond fragments. Yet, that veil of fear still shadowed her heart, the buzzing phone an ominous reminder of what lay ahead. Suddenly, her mother looked at her with newfound determination. Maria, what were you so worried about earlier? That call, it's been on your mind. Caught off guard, Maria hesitated. It's nothing, just, your recovery is what matters most. No, it's clearly something, her mother pressed gently. You can tell me. Taking a deep breath, Maria felt the tempest of emotions stirring. It's Dad. He keeps calling. I'm just unsure if I should pick up. Her mother's expression softened, understanding rushing in. We need to face all of this together, remember? Maria nodded, appreciating the strength she drew from those words. You're right. Together. The resolve ignited within her, but it felt fragile against the reality of the past. With her heart pounding, she slid the phone into her palm, the screen lighting up with her father's number. Okay, here goes nothing. Jack leaned in closer, a supportive presence, while her mother watched with anxious eyes. The words answer and ignore fought for dominance in her mind. Biting her lip, she hit the green button. Hello. Maria's voice was steadier than she felt. Maria? His voice was a mix of surprise and relief, but beneath it, a tension hung thick like smoke. I was wondering, can we talk? Talk? She echoed, heart racing as she felt the weight of years gone by pressing against her chest. I need to explain everything about your mother, about the fall. Those words sent chills down her spine. He had skirted around truths for too long. Why now? She questioned, trying to temper the anger bubbling up inside. Because now that she's awake, it's time we had an understanding. The moment felt electric, charged with both fear and potential. Her mother's eyes widened, and Maria cast a quick glance at her, seeking reassurance, but the hesitation in her mother's gaze mirrored Maria's own uncertainty. What could he say that would justify the scars they wore? Would it be explanations or just more lies? I'll think about it, Maria replied, the words slipping out, a mix of defiance and vulnerability. Just don't leave me hanging, Maria. We need to work through this together. As the call ended, Maria's thoughts entwined in a chaotic dance. She stared at the phone as if it held the answers to questions she hadn't yet formed. Her mother looked frail but fierce, and an unspoken understanding passed between them. What are you thinking? Jack asked softly, his eyes steady on her. Maria took a moment to gather herself. I need to confront him, but I don't want to drag you into this, she whispered, the weight of her burden splitting two ways. Drag me along. I want to let you go through this alone, Jack said firmly. She looked at him, gratitude swelling in her heart. And just like that, a flicker of hope ignited within her, but the clock was ticking. What awaited her in that looming confrontation? The truth felt like a double-edged sword. Was she ready for whatever lay on the other side? With a deep breath, she squeezed her mother's hand tighter, determined to face both the past and the unknown future together. But could they truly rebuild trust, or would the truths left unspoken send them back into chaos? The next morning dawned heavy with anticipation. Maria found herself pacing the hospital hallway, her mind racing over the conversation from the night before. She could still hear her father's voice echoing in her head, pleading for a chance, for understanding. With every step, her heart pounded a little louder. Jack had gone home for a shower and some fresh clothes, promising he'd be right back. She appreciated his willingness to stick by her side. But as the minutes dragged on, unease settled back in. She knew she'd have to talk to her dad soon, and it was overwhelming. Sitting back down beside her mother, Maria took a moment to breathe. Her mother looked peaceful, lost in slumber, the rhythm of the machines next to her providing a strangely calming background hum. Maria brushed a stray hair away from her mother's forehead, and just then, her mother stirred awake. Hey sweet girl, her mother whispered, her voice hoarse but filled with love. Good morning, Mom. How are you feeling? Maria asked, forcing a smile as the weight of what lay ahead loomed. Better, a bit. I remember you holding my hand last night. It felt nice. Her mother's eyes sparkled for a moment before clouding over again. Did you talk to your father? Maria tensed at the mention of his name, feeling the burn of old wounds. Yeah. He wants to talk again. There was a silence that felt pregnant with the past, her mother watching her with those familiar eyes that had seen so much. What do you think? Her mother's question was soft, yet heavy with understanding. I think Maria began, taking a deep breath. I think I'm just scared. Scared of what he might say, or what it means for us. Her mother nodded slowly, the weight of the moment pressing down on the both of them. Fear can trap us, but it sounds like you want to be free of it. That's a good start. But what if I open that door, and it leads us back to I won't let it, her mother interjected, her voice stronger. No more running, Maria. We have to face this together, like you said. A comfort washed over Maria with her mother's words. They were a promise, a tether holding her firm in the storm swirling inside her. As they talked, Jack returned, bringing with him a whiff of fresh coffee and a new energy. His presence seemed to anchor the moment, and Maria's tense shoulders relaxed a bit. How's everyone doing? He asked, his smile brightening the dim room. Getting better, Maria replied, feeling a little more brave. Mom was just reminding me that facing fears is important. Absolutely, Jack agreed, leaning in closer to her mother. We've got your back, Mrs. P. Every step of the way. Her mother looked from Jack to Maria, a flicker of admiration lighting in her eyes. You two are a team, aren't you? Always, they replied in unison, and for a moment, laughter filled the room. But as quickly as it came, an undercurrent of seriousness seeped back in. Maria glanced at the clock on the wall. Time was moving swiftly, and she needed to decide. Okay, I think it's time I reached out to him again, she said, the words infused with a mix of dread and determination. You'll open the door, and I'll be right here, holding your hand, Jack reassured her, his steady gaze unwavering. With her heart pounding, Maria grabbed her phone again. Texting hadn't seemed enough anymore. She knew a conversation was necessary, even if it terrified her. She typed out a message to her father, her fingers trembling. We need to talk. Each second felt like an eternity, silence suffocating her as she waited. In that moment, fear turned into resolve. Then, the phone buzzed with a reply. Her breath caught in her throat. What awaited her on the other side of this interaction? Okay, here we go, she whispered, her heart racing as she read the message. As apprehension danced with uncertainty, Maria wondered if this was the first step towards healing or the start of something much darker. Could she truly emerge from this unscathed? Maria's heart raced as she read her father's reply. Can you meet me at our usual place? I'll be there in an hour. The message was simple, almost too simple. She stared at her phone, the weight of the past pressing against her like an anchor. Memories flooded back, the laughter, the fights, the years lost, all contained within the awkwardness of this moment. Are you okay? Jack's voice pulled her from her thoughts. He had taken a seat beside her, his presence grounding and warm. I think I am. Maria tried to sound convincing. But I need to go. I have to see him. Jack's concern deepened. Are you sure about that? It's going to be intense. I'm sure, she replied. The word tasted foreign on her tongue but felt necessary. Her mother stirred again, awake enough to sense the tension in the air. What's happening? She asked, her eyes widening slightly. Dad wants to meet. I'm going to go talk to him, Maria explained, her voice steadier than her heart felt. Her mother studied her for a moment, then nodded, a smile playing on her lips. Just remember, no matter what happens, you are strong. You've come this far. With a final nod, Maria stood, casting a final glance at her mother, who was still encased in the warmth of her hospital bed. She yearned to take a piece of that calming comfort with her. But there was no time for more farewells. She had to face the storm before her. Jack stood and took a step closer to her, his eyes filled with unwavering support. You want me to come with you? The offer hung in the air. Maria's instinct was to say yes, to keep him close. But this was a conversation she needed to have alone. No, I think I need to do this by myself. But I'll text you after. Jack nodded, though she could see the concern still etched on his face. All right, just promise you'll stay safe. Promise. She forced a smile, grateful for his unwavering belief in her. Stepping out of the hospital felt like walking on a tightrope. Her heart teetered between hope and despair as she ventured into the outside world. The sun was shining bright, the air fresh, seemingly untouched by the pain she carried. Maria drove to their usual spot, an old diner that had been a family staple, a bittersweet reminder of countless breakfasts shared. Parking her car, she took a moment to breathe in deeply, trying to summon courage. What would she say? Would they be able to hear each other, or would it just plunge into chaos again? Walking through the diner doors felt monumental. She spotted her father at a corner booth, his figure more aged, more frail than she remembered. A part of her wanted to turn and run, but she pressed forward, each step a silent declaration of her strength. When he looked up, surprise flickered across his face, quickly masked by a guarded expression. "Maria, Dad." Her voice broke just a bit, but she steadied herself. "We need to talk." As she slid into the booth across from him, a fraught silence filled the space, a silence that bore the weight of years and unspoken words. Maria's heart raced as she looked him in the eye, preparing to finally confront everything they had both tried to ignore. "Why now?" he asked, his voice shaky. "In case you haven't noticed, time isn't on our side anymore." Her words were sharp, but necessary. Each tick of the clock above them echoed the urgency of their situation. How did they get here? What could possibly bring them back together? In that instant, Maria knew they were at a crossroads, each choice intertwined with consequence. "Let's start with why you left," she said, cutting through the thick tension. His reaction was immediate, a deep breath, shoulders sagging as if the weight of the world rested squarely on them. "You don't know the whole story." As the first piece of the puzzle fell into place, Maria braced herself. This was just the beginning of a conversation that could either heal or further fracture their bond. What would unfold next? She could sense the answer lay in his next words. Could they finally bridge the chasm that years of pain had carved? As they both sat in the small diner, the ticking clock was the only sound breaking the heavy silence. Maria's heart pounded in her chest as she studied her father's face, searching for whatever emotions lay buried beneath that stern exterior. She needed answers. "Tell me," she urged, her voice unwavering, "why did you choose to walk away from us? Why did you let us struggle?" Her father sighed deeply, the weight of the years crashing down with his breath. "I thought I was protecting you. From my failures. From everything," he said, a tremor in his voice. "I thought leaving would give you space to find your own life." "Space?" Maria scoffed, disbelief carving through her frustration. "We needed you. I needed you. Mom needed you. Instead, you turned your back when we needed you the most. You chose your pride over us." His eyes softened, and for a moment, vulnerability flickered across his facade. "You're right. I made mistakes. Terrible ones. I just felt like a ghost in my own home. So I left, thinking it would give your mother the chance to start anew without me. But that was wrong. So wrong." The world around them grew quiet, each heartbeat connecting them in a fragile moment of honesty. Maria clenched her fist, wrestling with the pain of old wounds. "Do you even know what your absence did to us? Do you really understand how your choices affected our lives?" I know. He stared into her eyes, and for the first time, she saw the regret etched in his brow. "I've watched from a distance, caught in my own hell. And now, seeing you with your mother, it kills me. I wish I could erase that pain." "Then why didn't you try harder?" The words spilled from her lips as if they'd been trapped for years, raw and unfiltered. Confrontation had been a long time coming, and now it rested uneasily between them. I didn't know how. I thought I was sparing you from my failure," he admitted, tears welling up in his eyes. "But seeing what's happened to her, it's changed everything." Maria swallowed back her anger. Just beneath the surface, a flicker of understanding sparked. "We're still struggling," she whispered, her resolve softening. You can't undo the past, but you can be here now. Mom's awake. She's fighting for her health. Please, help us. We need to get through this together. Something broke in her father's gaze. Together he repeated, as if the word were foreign. Then he nodded, a tremor in his voice. Okay. Let us face it together. I will do whatever it takes. The promise hung in the air, painful but essential. In that moment, Maria glanced out the window, watching the world move on. She realized their journey was far from over, but perhaps there was still a chance for something good. There was joy intertwined with pain, resilience nestling beside vulnerability. Can you come to the hospital? She asked, her heart racing. Mom needs you. She deserves the truth, and I think it's time for the weight of past choices to lift. He nodded fervently, wiping away a stray tear. I'll clear my schedule. I'll be there. With that decision, a subtle warmth filled the air. Not just for her father, but for herself too. The truths they held felt like shackles, but perhaps together they could create a bridge. Maria felt a flicker of hope ignite, intertwined with fear but undeniably powerful. Later that day, in the hospital room, Maria held her mother's hand as she looked up with renewed energy. Jack stood protectively by her side, their old fears ebbed away, replaced by a sense of family, defined not just by blood but by the love forged through struggle. Mom, he's coming, Maria declared with a brave smile, her heart swelling with anticipation. Her mother offered a weak smile, but the light in her eyes sparked with warmth. Together? She murmured, as if testing the word once more. Together, Maria confirmed, glancing at Jack, who mirrored her hope. They were ready for the storm, ready to fight for the love that would bind them, even in the chaos. As her father entered the room, Maria felt both relief and apprehension. Old ghosts lurked in the shadows, but perhaps this was the moment they could face them all together. No one had to tackle their burdens alone anymore. And as Maria's heart filled with possibility, she finally understood, love isn't just found in absence, it's woven in every moment of shared courage. That day marked a new beginning. The truth made it possible. With tears in her eyes, she saw hope for the family they still could become. Together, they would rebuild. Together, against all odds to discover the love waiting on the other side. Now, if you're feeling inspired by this journey, and you don't want to miss the next exclusive stories unfolding, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Leave a like now to share your love and support, feeding the algorithm we all rely on. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Did it touch your heart? And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share, because only the true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.